embracing your golden years, who to avoid living with after 60. As we journey through life, reaching the age of 60 and beyond is a milestone that brings with it the wisdom of experience and the freedom to live life on our own terms. Yet it can also be a time when the people around us, rather than uplifting us, become burdensome. Have you ever felt that certain relationships drain your energy instead of invigorating you? This is a crucial time to reflect on your life and establish the boundaries you need. The years ahead should be about enjoyment and living the life you truly deserve, not merely enduring. Today, we're exploring the types of people you might want to avoid living with after 60. Stay with us until the end, as we'll share insights on how to protect your well-being, set boundaries, and reclaim your joy. If you find this video helpful, please like it and comment the number 2. If you think we can improve, send us a heart and comment the number 7. Don't forget to subscribe to After 7080 for more videos filled with valuable insights. The perpetual complainer. Do you know someone who can find a problem in every situation? Meet Linda. At 65, she moved in with her younger sister, Diana, thinking it would be a great way to stay connected and share expenses. But every day began with Diana complaining about the weather, the neighbors, the cost of living. You name it. Linda found herself waking up with a sense of dread, anticipating the negativity that would greet her before she even finished her morning coffee. It wasn't just annoying. It was exhausting. Complaining, especially in its toxic form, is like a virus. The more you're exposed, the more it infects your mind. Slowly, Linda began seeing the world through Diana's critical lens. Everything felt heavier, gloomier, and harder to bear. One day, Linda realized something needed to change. She began spending less time at home and more time with friends who uplifted her. She set boundaries and even had a frank conversation with Diana about how her constant negativity was affecting her. Here's the truth. Complaining doesn't solve problems. It amplifies them. Ask yourself, are there constant complainers in your life? How do you feel after spending time with them? Drained or energized? Share your experience in the comments. How have you dealt with someone like this? Stay with me because up next, we're talking about another energy drain that might be hiding in plain sight. The energy vampire. Imagine someone who doesn't bite your neck but still drains your vitality. That's what an energy vampire does. Take Robert, for example. At 70, he was enjoying a quiet retirement in his family home. Then his nephew Mark moved in temporarily to get back on his feet. Mark was charming and pleasant at first. He even brought coffee for Robert every morning. But slowly, the dynamic shifted. Every evening, Mark would sit down and unload his life's problems onto Robert. His job struggles, his relationship issues, his financial woes. Robert wanted to help, but as weeks turned into months, he realized he was always tired, both mentally and emotionally, after their conversations. He had become Mark's emotional dumping ground. Here's the thing about energy vampires. They often don't realize what they're doing. But that doesn't make their impact any less harmful. Are there people in your life who make you feel like you've run a marathon after talking to them? Drop a comment below and tell us how you protect your energy from these emotional drains. Up next, we'll explore a more subtle but equally draining dynamic. People who try to control your life under the guise of care. The controller. Have you ever felt like someone in your life means well but ends up dictating how you live? This is the story of Margaret, a vibrant 68-year-old who loved her independence. But when her daughter Jessica moved back home to help her out, things began to change. At first, Margaret appreciated Jessica's concern. Jessica insisted on organizing her meals, suggesting what she should eat for her health, and even questioned Margaret's daily walks because they seemed too tiring for someone your age. Over time, Margaret felt trapped. Jessica's constant advice turned into subtle control, and Margaret began doubting her own decisions. She stopped signing up for her painting classes and canceled her weekend trips with friends because Jessica thought it was too much. Controllers often disguise their intentions as love or concern, but their actions can rob you of your freedom. Margaret finally had a heart-to-heart with Jessica, reminding her that being 68 didn't mean giving up her autonomy. She set clear boundaries, explaining that she could take care of herself and didn't need every decision second guessed. Ask yourself, is there someone in your life who subtly or overtly tries to take control of your choices? Do they act like they know better, even when their advice doesn't feel right for you? Share your thoughts in the comments. How do you protect your independence in relationships? Coming up next, we'll talk about one of the hardest challenges for many people over 60. Dealing with loved ones who depend on you too much. The overly dependent relative. Let's talk about Ben, a 70-year-old retired teacher who was finally ready to enjoy his golden years. His son, Eric, had gone through a difficult divorce and moved back in with him just for a while. But a while turned into years. Eric was 40, capable of working, but instead spent his days playing video games and figuring things out. Ben, out of love and duty as a parent, supported Eric financially and even did the cooking and cleaning. At first, Ben told himself, he just needs time. But eventually he realized he wasn't living his own life anymore. He was living Eric's. Simple pleasures like gardening or meeting friends became distant memories as he spent most of his energy taking care of his adult son. One day, after an honest conversation with an old friend, Ben understood something profound. Helping Eric this way wasn't helping him grow. By constantly bailing him out, Ben was enabling Eric's dependence, instead of empowering him to stand on his own. Ben gave Eric a timeline to move out, offering emotional support, but making it clear that his role as a parent didn't mean sacrificing his own life forever. It was a tough love moment, but it brought growth for both of them. Now, reflect for a moment. Do you have someone in your life who leans on you a little too much? Are you helping them grow or holding yourself back by taking on their responsibilities? In the next section, we'll tackle a group of people who are just as draining, but in a different way. Those who insist you act your age and stop dreaming. The Act Your Age Squad. Have you ever shared an exciting dream or a new goal with someone, only for them to respond, "Aren't you a little too old for that?" These are the people who, often unintentionally, make you question your capabilities simply because of your age. Take Susan, for example. At 72, she was full of life and had always dreamed of learning to play the piano. When she mentioned this to her old friend, Carol, the response was quick. "At your age, that sounds exhausting. You should just relax and enjoy quiet time." Susan hesitated, wondering if Carol was right. Was she being unrealistic? But deep down, she felt a spark that wouldn't go out. Ignoring Carol's doubts, she signed up for lessons anyway. Within months, Susan found herself playing melodies that filled her with joy and pride. It wasn't about becoming a concert pianist. It was about proving to herself that she could still embrace new challenges. The Act Your Age Squad may think they're protecting you from disappointment, but they're really projecting their own fears. They've bought into the myth that aging means giving up, but that doesn't have to be your reality. Think about this. Is there something you've put off because someone told you it wasn't appropriate for your age? A hobby, a trip, a new skill? Share your dreams in the comments. Let's inspire each other to break free from these outdated limits. Up next, we'll talk about the people who can truly rob your golden years of joy. Those who sow fear and doubt about aging itself. The fear spreaders. You shouldn't travel anymore. It's dangerous. Be careful about starting something new. It's too risky at your age. Sound familiar? Fear spreaders are the ones who see aging as the end of possibilities instead of the beginning of new adventures. This was the case for Mike, a retired firefighter who had spent his life dreaming of hiking the Appalachian Trail. At 66, he decided it was finally time, but his neighbor, Paul, constantly warned him. What if you hurt yourself? Who's going to help you out there? It's not safe for someone your age. At first, Mike hesitated. What if Paul was right? But after weeks of self-doubt, he reminded himself of one simple truth. Fear is a reflection of someone else's limitations, not his own. Mike trained for months, preparing himself both physically and mentally. When he finally hit the trail, the experience was life-changing. He proved to himself, and everyone else, that age is no barrier to adventure. Fear spreaders often mean well, but their words can rob you of the courage to live boldly. Remember, life doesn't stop at 60, 70, or even 80. It evolves. Have you ever held back on a dream because of someone else's fears? Drop a comment below and share how you overcame or plan to overcome those doubts. Up next, we'll address a tricky but essential topic: how to deal with romantic relationships in your later years without sacrificing your peace of mind. Let's dive into it. The challenges of love after 60. Let's talk about a topic that stirs up a mix of excitement and hesitation: romantic relationships in your later years. Love doesn't stop at 60, but it does come with its own set of complexities. Meet Evelyn, a 69-year-old widow who decided to give love another chance after years of being on her own. She met Richard, a charming man in his 60s, at a community event. Their connection was instant, and for a while, Evelyn felt like she had found her soulmate. But as they started spending more time together, Evelyn noticed a shift. Richard began relying on her for everything: meals, errands, and even financial support. What started as a beautiful romance quickly felt more like a one-sided partnership. Evelyn realized she wasn't in love. She was becoming a caretaker. Here's the hard truth: love after 60 should enhance your life, not drain it. Romantic relationships at this stage are about mutual respect, shared joy and freedom, not dependence. Ask yourself this: are you in a relationship that adds value to your life, or are you carrying more weight than you should? Share your thoughts below. What do you think makes love work at this age? And here's another important question: are you holding back from pursuing love because of fear? Fear of judgment, fear of being hurt, or even fear of change? Love after 60 is not just possible. It can be deeply fulfilling if approached with clarity and boundaries. Next, we'll discuss one of the biggest emotional dilemmas many face: how to deal with adult children who may still be leaning too heavily on you. Adult children and setting boundaries. Now let's talk about something many of us face, but rarely discuss openly: adult children who overstay their welcome emotionally, financially, or even physically. Take George, a 70, or even physically. Take George, a 70-year-old retired mechanic. His daughter, Lisa, moved back home after losing her job, promising it was just temporary. But temporary turned into years. And George found himself not only covering her expenses, but also cleaning up after her and putting his own plans on hold. One day, George realized he was losing more than his free time. He was losing his sense of self. He loved Lisa deeply, but knew he wasn't helping her grow by letting her stay in this cycle. After a heartfelt conversation, he encouraged her to find a job and move out. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary for both of them to grow. Here's the lesson: love doesn't mean sacrificing your peace of mind or independence. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is set boundaries and give others the space to take responsibility for their lives. Do you have a similar story? Share in the comments. How have you managed to balance love for your children with respect for your own well-being? Up next, we'll dive into the ultimate message of this video: why living for yourself after 60 isn't selfish, it's essential. Why living for yourself after 60 isn't selfish. Let's address something many of us were taught to believe: that prioritizing yourself is selfish. After 60, it's time to challenge this mindset. You've spent decades giving, raising children, supporting family, building a career. Now it's your turn to embrace the life you deserve. Meet Caroline, a 72-year-old retired nurse. Her entire life had been devoted to others. Her patients, her husband, her children. When she finally retired, she looked forward to traveling and exploring her passions. But her family had other ideas. Her son often asked for financial help. Her daughter called daily with complaints about her marriage. And her grandchildren expected her to babysit on demand. Caroline felt torn. Saying no felt wrong, but constantly saying yes left her exhausted and resentful. One day she asked herself, when do I get to live my life? That question changed everything. She started setting boundaries, saying no when requests interfered with her plans. It wasn't easy, but it was transformative. Caroline finally took the trip she dreamed of, a solo journey to Italy. She returned not just refreshed, but empowered. Here's the truth. Living for yourself doesn't mean abandoning others. It means valuing your time, energy, and dreams as much as you valued everyone else's. When you're fulfilled, you're better equipped to support those you love. But on your terms, so ask yourself, have you been putting your own needs on hold for others? What's one thing you've been dreaming of doing but haven't prioritized? Let us know in the comments. Your story could inspire someone else to take their first step. Life after 60, your new beginning. Here's the most important thing to remember. Life after 60 isn't the end. It's a new chapter, one where you finally get to write the story you've always wanted. Think about the passions you've set aside, the adventures you've postponed, and the peace you've been yearning for. Now is the time to reclaim them. Whether it's learning a new skill, traveling to that dream destination, or simply spending your days exactly how you want. This is your moment. The late actress Betty White once said, "Retirement is not the end of the road, it is the beginning of the open highway." Let that sink in. What's one thing you'll do this week to start living for yourself? Leave a comment below and share your journey with us. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of what it means to protect your energy, set boundaries, and live fully after 60. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe to After 7080 for more inspiring content. Remember, this is your time. Make it count. See you in the next video.